This is Things You Might Not Have Heard. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne on the Christmas Eve edition for 2024, giving you 8 stories queued up today that were pretty good yesterday. You told us they're good, and some of them I'm pretty surprised at what you wanted to talk about, but we're talking about what you want to talk about. You gave us the insight for these stories that cover information, politics, current events, and pop culture news. We have on the queue today Matt Gaetz, who came out of nowhere and really came out of nowhere. Also, Leanna Lenee, who I'm hopefully not butchering, but I'm pretty sure I am. And Amber Heard got their moments in the sun by you guys yesterday by leaps and bounds, plus 5 other stories for the day. Now, the vetting process will be explained after we go through the headlines, so stick for all that stuff. But remind you right now that our headlines are brought to you by our website. Or our website is the host of our headlines, if you will. This is theconversationproject.com, our home online where you can find more details on how we do this thing like this. And of course, email me with your comments, concerns, and all complaints at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. We're going to bookmark today with Biden again. Yesterday was a Biden bookmark, so I'll give you that tease right there. But as I said already, Tuesday, December 24th, 2024, Christmas Eve on this year. Let's get into the headlines, no particular order, and as I'll tell you specifically when we get to the really big ones by your engagement, which blew me out of the water, how they kind of got there. But we start off, as I look bewildered, when another person looks real bewildered, who did something really big yesterday, trying to maybe fix his legacy, or at least fix his legacy with people who he's disappointed at the tail end of his presidency. That is Joe Biden. He commuted 37 sentences on federal death row to life. So out of 40 people on death row on federal charges, 37 of them now have a life sentence. Now, he has been talking for years about, being more of a person who did not believe in the death penalty, even though, as we say often, he wrote the crime bill and he was a big staunch supporter of the death penalty as a not deterrent, because it really never was a deterrent, but as an actual crime, a show of punishment for the charges that were life. Said enough. But he changed the sentences to 37 federal death row inmates from life imprisonment from death. Although there will be no parole, they're still not going anywhere. They just will be in prison for their full natural lives. And this decision aligns with his long-standing opposition to the death penalty, but it's going to basically frustrate a lot of folks. So the people who did not get commuted, which is more important, is Desira Tarnoff, who, of course, involved in the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing, Dylan Roof from the 2015 Charleston church shooting, and Robert Bowers, who came out with the 2018 Pittsburgh synagogue shooting. So these people that shot up the marathon and the churches and the synagogue, bad enough to not come out again. Everyone else is going to get life, no parole. So there's a series of clemency measures that President Biden actually went through over about 1,500 sentences for nonviolent offenders and pardons for about 39 in total. So we've done a lot of work. He's not Obama level or Trump last minute level or even Clinton level in some of the weird sort of what's going on. Other than the fact he pardoned his son, which were a lot of people are kind of pissed about. The reactions are right now mixed because death penalty advocates are praising, or advocates against the death penalty are praising the decision to let these folks off. And people who believe the folks that were on death row for federal charges should be put to death are, of course, not happy with this one. Victims' families specifically, people who want to see some resolution and now feel that they don't get that vindication they wanted to. This is a way for President Biden to cement his legacy again when he couldn't quite stick the landing in the past few months, especially after deciding to run for president. And now we're finding out that he had no right to run for a second term based on everything that's coming out. You can feel sorry for the man. You can feel proud for the man. You can feel happy that he did what he did. But at this point in time, there's pretty much no one who's going to admit to thinking that Joe Biden had the stamina to go another 4 years of this. Because many people don't believe he has the stamina to finish out the last couple of days of this. Like I said, we will bookmark this. We have another teaser story that I'm sure that you guys want to get into about Biden doing something else that may be legacy sealing. It may actually affect us, U.S., for quite some time. Let's move into what was not the most engaging story by you, but was the hottest story being covered on the news coverage, except for Fox News, because when it came down and when it got the information to get started, it had the ball rolling in this one. Fox News Didn't talk about it at all for a good span of 20 minutes while I watched them in the early mornings. Now, as it changed, so how the coverage changed. But Matt Gaetz is our big story. Whether you want him to be or not, whether you want him to go away or not, Matt Gaetz had his report released, at least a final draft of his report released for the House Ethics Committee, and it shows what they have as evidence of Gaetz paying for sex, including to a 17-year-old girl. Now, what was really the kicker on the story was we got the idea, we knew for days they were going to release it probably today or yesterday on Monday. And they were going to. We got word it went out there. Some preliminary copies went out to some of the news outlets so they can start looking at it and working the reports before it was posted online by the House Ethics Committee, and which is, of course, run mostly. It's basically split evenly. But for this to happen, at least one Republican had to vote with the Democrats or in that thought process to make this go public. It went public. It's there. Gaetz tried to get an emergency injunction to have it not be released, but by the time he had the paperwork signed, it was already out there. So you can't uncrack that egg, basically. Gaetz is accused of engaging in sexual misconduct, including paying for sex of a 17-year-old girl, with the investigation that initiated in April of 2021. Lots and lots and lots and lots of bad stuff. Some of the key findings in that are the sexual misconducts. He paid for sex with multiple women, including a 17-year-old girl in 2017. Witnesses testified that observing Gaetz engaging in sexual activities with a minor at a party in Florida, which in my brain was, did he bring the minor to the adult party or was he an adult at a minor party? Which either way is terrible. Drug use, including paying some of these people, these women and teenagers, for drugs for him. And the obstruction of justice, basically not showing up, not cooperating, not being a part of the investigation, just to verify what's happening. And that was in there to basically bring more things down for Gaetz. Despite the serious allegations, Gaetz has denied no wrongdoing. He said in a post on social media a few days ago that he did some stupid things in his youth, but none of them were illegal. And that was no reason for him to be disqualified and be barred for everything else. Now, will he still get his job at AON? Right now, it looks like it's going to happen. He also did some rally speeches saying, well, I'm not going to go back to the House, although technically he has a right to go back to the House. But maybe I should run for Senate. Maybe I should do other stuff. Maybe I should be Michael Bay and do prep walks. I don't know. But it's just disturbing. For a person who had all the rumors and innuendo, including people of his own party, just basically saying out loud in various cases, this guy is a creep. This guy is terrible. We don't need him around as a person. He was, helpful idiot and tool for getting things done, maybe. And, of course, being a thorn in Kevin McCarthy's side. Now, Kevin McCarthy is getting a last laugh, if you will, based on what Gaetz has done to him, what's going to happen to him. Now, we are not going to see any prosecution because we're just not going to. Just assume that they're not going to actually push that far on these things. But no one with eyes can say this is anything but bad. However, people with eyes will find a way to say this is not as bad as it looks like, or it's all framed or fake news. Someone will find a way to frame this as him being framed when it kind of looks like he did it. Another person who kind of looks like he did it is Luigi Mangione, who pled not guilty to state murder charges in UnitedHealthcare CEO case. Now, this is his third time basically sitting in front of judges getting charged and everything's happened. First was in Pennsylvania where he was caught. Second was last week where he went for the federal charges first, which kind of threw everybody out of left field and gave us the big Michael Bay perp walk with the mayor walk him aside in slow motion, because we had to have that one. And today, or yesterday, I should say, his state murder charges, he pled not guilty to those as well. Now, his lawyers are really kind of perturbed on this one. They're really kind of pissed, to be honest, because there's a bunch of issues. Double jeopardy is an issue because he's being charged federally and statewide, and they've worked out the different charges so they don't sound similar enough to be double jeopardy charges. He's got 11 charges total for the state charges, just kind of doing what's happening. First-degree murder and terrorism-related offenses. And it just seems like a lot going on. But what he did, Seems like a lot going on. What we hear from people inside of the actual courtroom as it happened was they had some seats open for the public, because they always do. They were filled with young women who were quiet, and they weren't talking too much. And of course, outside, protesters on both sides. A lot of people who are in support of Mr. Mangione, and some people who just are kind of on the murder is wrong sort of thing. Lost in the shuffle is Brian Thompson, the actual CEO who was killed. And what could have came about if he wasn't killed, or time went on, or the right network got the right deal, was essentially that he wasn't all that great of a person, and he was also a good CEO making money for a company that denied people coverage, which is why everyone's upset with the CEOs, upset with the healthcare companies, and for some reason putting money on the books for Mangione in the commissary. It's an interesting set that we live in. It's really, really changed how we're seeing things from December the 4th when the incident occurred. And it's just something that we have to sit back, and history will have to look back, and the true crime podcasters will have to dig into to actually see what happens when there's time to have evaluation. Right now, we're in the moment. After the 5-day manhunt, Mangione was apprehended in Pennsylvania, and we're now dealing with the actual recourses. Although it's going to be a bit complicated, shuffling back and forth between the federal crimes and the state crimes. Pennsylvania will get their cut when they get a shot after those things are done first, but New York has to wrap things up whenever the feds wrap things up as well. We're sending out thoughts and prayers for Bill Clinton, who was hospitalized yesterday after testing an observation after he fell ill. Now, it was nothing, if you were 78 years old, nothing serious is always kind of serious. Just like saying surgery is something that's not a big deal when it's on somebody else. When it's on you, it's kind of a deal. The former U.S. President Clinton, who is 78, as I said, went to MedStar Georgetown University Hospital in Washington, D.C., where he lives now, and he was developing a fever, and out of caution, his deputy chief of staff basically sent him to the hospital and said, let's go check this thing out, because the man is 78 years old. Because the man is 78 years old. Because the man is 78 years old. Sources indicate that the situation is not urgent, and he's expected to be home today or tomorrow sometime, but they do have to check this thing out for whatever. He's had several health issues and post-pregnancy, including quadruple bypass in 2004, partially collapsed lung in 2005, some stents in 10 and 21, 6 days due into a infection that spread to his bloodstream from his urologic infection way back when. So, Clinton is no stranger to showing up at hospitals with things going on. And when things happen, they push. So the biggest thing that he's been involved in, like in public eye for us to see as public, not just paid stuff, has been his address at the Democratic National Convention when he campaigned for Kamala Harris as well. The losing bid, obviously, going forward. And a lot of people are blaming Clinton's, the two, plus Obama's, for the former presidents for, not really backing Kamala Harris, just kind of going along with it. They're also blaming Biden for throwing Kamala Harris out there for people to have to back. So if you want to get some more post-election tears in, and you got that going for you. But thoughts, prayers, happy, positive energy for the prez. We don't want any one of these guys to go in any way, shape, or fashion. We want to get as many miles as possible. There's still people who need Clinton to kind of tell them what to do. And so we need Clinton to tell some folks what to do. I'm going to tell you what to do right now. I'm going to actually ask politely. If you enjoy the videos, enjoy the work we do here, we ask you to like what you're seeing. Liking it shows me that I'm on the right track and I'm doing pretty good videos, pretty good news coverage, doing the right bits of commentary. Or because if it's on YouTube and like is the only way to show form, well, you can dislike it. That's one way as well. I get disliked as well, but dislike doesn't make it happy for the algorithms to show to more people. That just says people see the dislike and they pile on to it. That's how that works out. So like it if you like it. So I see it's good, the algorithm sees it's good, and the viewers see it might be good. Share it with like-minded people who like this type of commentary and news coverage, because we're going to get some stories in the next half that I'm pretty sure if Anderson Cooper was at work last night, was not going to cover, because they are interesting to you guys, but not exactly newsworthy, if you will. And subscribe, so you make sure you get this in your feeds whenever we get it to you. Sometimes it's live stuff. This is something we produce live, so it goes on in X and Facebook and YouTube at the same time every single weekday morning. Sometimes they're re-recorded stuff. Sometimes there's clips of other things. You can get our coverage anytime you want to by checking your feed and seeing what we got out there, live or not, if you subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe to grow the Conversation Project. I'm going to butcher this name. I'm just going to say, because this is one of those honest things I have about some of the posts. A lot of times we're aggregating, we're looking at stuff, we're seeing things that are just interesting, and there's just a blind sort of something that pops up in one aggregator that may pop up in the second aggregator, may pop up on the news headline someplace. So we pop it in there because I have no idea what's going to happen, so you guys hit it. This story had about, honestly, 3,000% more engagement than anything going forward. I'm going to blame the internet in general, not you guys who actually follow specifically, but apparently this is a big deal. Leanna Lenee faces backlash for alleged behavior during relationship with Travis Hunter. The fiance of the Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter, is facing widespread criticism online for her behavior during a key public appearance with Hunter. The backlash stems from multiple incidents that fans and critics have interpreted as unsupportive or inappropriate behavior. Basically, the lady that you got with you as you make your way and ascending to the high tops of sportsmanship and money is not the good lady. She's not Vanessa Bryant. She's not a Curry. This is not the one. At the recent Heisman Trophy event, Lenee hesitated to stand and celebrate when Hunter's name was announced. Critics labeled her as unsupportive, though she explained she was unsure how to react since Hunter's mother remained seated. In a viral clip showing Lenee looking upset as Hunter interacted with fans, especially female admirers, at the public event. She clarified her frustrations was due to miscommunication about event timing, not the jealousy, and some old videos of her dancing provocatively, i.e. twerking, with another man have also resurfaced, fueling further criticism about her character. She may not be all that great. She also doesn't know how to act in the ways that are, the swags and wags sort of things. Sonner has defended Lenee publicly, urging people to respect her privacy and emphasizing their strong relationship. Meanwhile, Lenee released an emotional statement addressing the criticism and the toll it's taken over her. Public figures like Sharon Sharp and Nate Burleson have weighed in, advising the couple to adjust to the spotlight, i.e. he's going to make a lot of money and be a big-time guy soon, and hopefully he'll be successful in that next career step. So the lady you take with you is a representation of you. So make sure she doesn't look bad in the box with the owners or doesn't look dumb with the fans out there. Make sure that she's someone that people can get along with. They don't have to love her. They just have to, not hate her. Those are two different things. And if you actually have been in a level of that, I'm not nowhere, like Christina with a K is nowhere near that level, what minor fame I have doing traffic reports on the radio. But if you've been at that level and you know what's going on and you know the people that are around you drag you down, it's going to be an issue. Remember, if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a pretty woman your life. If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a pretty woman your wife. Those words mean more than you think. I love that song. Okay, so let's go to Drake for quick. Drake's legal team hits back at Spotify's response to UMG lawsuit. Let me just read you what the robot editor has to go, and we'll let you kind of go from there. Drake's legal team has responded to Spotify's recent denial of allegations concerning the artificial inflation of the streaming numbers for Kendrick Lamar's track Not Like Us. The dispute centers on claims that Universal Music Group, UMG, and Spotify engaged in deceptive practices to boost the song's popularity. The allegations say that the petition was filed by Frozen Moments LLC, that's Drake's company, and they filed it against UMG and Spotify, saying that they basically were bumping the streams. They were pushing it out there and making it unfairly weighted to be a top hit when it was, okay, but maybe wouldn't have got as much if Spotify didn't push it, essentially saying that it's a RICO issue. And Spotify, of course, said, nope, not us, didn't happen. And then Drake's legal team said, yep, did happen. And they are skeptical of what's going on, suggesting that if Spotify and UMG have nothing to hide, that's a quote from the statement, they should comply to their discovery request. They're not. The legal team is pursuing pre-action discovery to gather evidence in support of their claims, indicating a committee that would put together some sort of plan and a commitment to uncovering the truth behind the alleged streaming manipulation. This could be big for all your streaming platforms, all the money the artists aren't getting from the stuff, if you will, because they are just famously getting screwed out of the pennies per dollar we get for streaming. I pay for streaming and I have access to money. I pay for 3 streaming services because I have them for 3 different things. And I do. That's the best I can do to help out. I don't buy albums anymore. I don't, go to concerts. I don't buy T-shirts and stickers and things like that. But whatever pennies I'm giving to folks, because of the way they count these things, I'm sure they're getting cheated out of big money while they're always touring. Drake is pushing this mostly because the beef he has with Kendrick Lamar makes it look like Kendrick Lamar is the hero of the story because he had so much reaction to that song, Not Like Us. But Drake says, it's not like you. It's really Spotify pushing the numbers. This will continue because lawsuits. Well, it's been continuing for thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, if you want to count that far back. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano. It's erupting again, which means people are freaking out in the region. Spewing lava and volcanic gases into the air, renewed concerns of the region because eruption began within the volcano's summit crater located in Hawaii's Volcanoes National Park. Authorities issuing warnings about the hazardous air quality, which is the quick thing because the air quality gets bad, and residents and visitors to take precautions with that. No immediate threats to homes or infrastructures from lava, but being vigilant is what you have to do in these situations. We know what happens from watching in the past when the lava starts to flow. In this volcano specifically, and just in general, you have to be prepared. And the biggest thing around them is, breathing the air, which is going to be crazy, and the seismic activity, earthquakes, things like that. Not so much lava that will kill you. It will basically, literally, the air will choke you to death. Latest activity comes after a relatively quiet peace from Kilauea since its last eruption about a year ago. One of the most active in the world, has a history of dramatic eruptions that have caused widespread damage and a whole lot of panic. Locals are just getting ready for what could be the worst of the situation. And I'm not sure if this makes the situation worse. And I know that Blake Lively has gotten a lot of love and support for her issues she's having with Justin Baldoni. But Amber Heard may not be the really one you want to step in for you, but she is. Amber Heard has publicly supported Blake Lively amid the sexual harassment allegations she has levied against Justin Baldoni, her co-star and director in It Ends With Us. Lively's complaint, filed with the California Civil Rights Department, accuses Baldoni of unwanted advances and creating a hostile work environment. She also alleged that Baldoni orchestrated a smear campaign to tarnish her reputation, reportedly hiring the same PR crisis manager employed by Johnny Depp. So with that, Amber Heard is speaking. Reflecting on her own experiences during the highly publicized trial with Depp, she commented on the destructive nature of such campaigns, stating, quote, "Social media is the absolute personification of classic saying, a lie travels halfway across the world before truth can get its boots on. I saw this firsthand, up close. It is as horrifying as it is destructive." Now, the allegations by Lively detail instances of inappropriate behavior, unsolicited physical contact, discussions of personal sexual experiences on set, just making things uncomfortable and just being a creep. She further claims that after confronting him, he started to bring her down in her social media, in his social media specifically, but in social circles, in the media, making her look like a manipulative and negative person, while all the while he was the one being manipulative and being negative in the situation. Baldoni's legal team says, nope, not us, didn't happen, and so we're going back and forth. Many people have stepped up to support Lively, including many folks that co-stars in the past and just people who I guess know her in general. Of course, Lively, of course, married to Ryan Reynolds. The biggest thing so far to happen for this one is that Baldoni has lost his representation. He was covered by WME, also now still covered by Lively and Reynolds, so they still have their representation and he doesn't. But Amber Heard is speaking out, so this thing obviously is not going away because of all the hate, and this is not me because I could care less, for Amber Heard when she literally speaks in general. Let's go to our teaser story right now. I said we were bookending Biden, and we're doing that. Of course, yesterday's teaser was Biden commuting the sentences to life from death to life no parole from death to 37 of 40 inmates on death row in federal prison. Today, we know very soon, because he's almost out of time, he will be the deciding factor on U.S. Steel and the acquisition by Nippon Steel. That, in short, means, is the Japanese company going to buy U.S. Steel? No one seems to want this to happen, but U.S. Steel can't pay the bills. And so it's a good deal for them, or at least for shareholders or for execs who will get good golden parachutes and maybe good jobs by the Japanese-owned company. But when someone from a foreign agent, even if they are an ally, starts buying up big stuff like U.S. Steel, there are issues with security and how they're going to treat us. Donald Trump's already complaining about Panama Canal. He'll probably complain about this one as well because he says they shouldn't do it. If Biden agrees with Trump, then he'll have a happy start to the 4 years coming up. If he disagrees and let the sale goes through, oh, there'll be hell to pay for everybody. But I need you to actually read the story and see what's going down. The whole story and the sale for U.S. Steel and how Biden will be the person to make this decision before it gets out of here in less than 30 days is a big deal. You have to help us pick this story, though. You have to be engaged. I've read it. I have my thought. Oh, I have my thoughts. So we'll probably talk about it in general somewhere. But if this is one of the stories that makes the top 8 tomorrow, I'm pretty sure we're going to do this thing tomorrow because no one's waking up before 7 o'clock in my house tomorrow. You have to engage in the story. Like it, love it, hate it, share it, do what you can, read it, please, because it's actually a pretty big story, a pretty big deal, and understand what's happening here. And if you want to really engage in it tomorrow in this show, this version of the show, make it a top 15 story. And that just means if it's the top half of the stories you have in the day, we'll post 30 stories through on our feeds all day tomorrow. Top half of those stories get consideration for the 8 we choose to give to you here. Our feeds on Facebook, facebook.com/This Is the Conversation Project, x.com/TH Conversation. Every 50 minutes, we'll post some news article from somewhere. Sometimes they're just as serious as this. Sometimes they're just as silly as a Heisman Trophy winner's girlfriend twerking on stage and making people wonder if she's actually got the goods to go all the way. She may not be a Brittany Mahomes. She may not be a Taylor Swift. She's definitely not a Holly Robinson Pete, and that's my favorite, although I'm not a fan of Rodney Pete, but that's my crush, so there you go. Vote this one in, engage it up, and we'll take a look at it, and tomorrow we'll go deeper into it if you make it that engaging. This week, we're giving you a respite of some of the corporate sponsors we have and giving you some things that I've done in the past year because I'm proud of this one. This is the book that I released a week before the election. I worked on for a couple of months, put it down, then worked on it for about 3 or 4 weeks, wrapping up to make sure everything was cool. And it's self-published, so it's got the self-published issues I got. It's got some help with a little AI to help expand on things, make my words sound a little pretty in some cases. So there's some issues there. But I am not a Chris Chaliza. I'm not a John Avalon. Those are names I'm throwing out because I watched CNN. I'm not a Joy Reid. I'm not a Neil Cavuto. I'm not those level type of folks. But I have been following politics. I'm following leadership. Well, I've been following politics since I was 6 years old, believe it or not. Following leadership since I was in high school. I've been in depth with many politicians since I arrived in Arkansas and became a radio producer and newscaster. Just became that, like, poof, you're a newscaster. Go talk politics. So I've had spent time with a lot of cases with politicians in the raw, if you will, and spent times at rally type situations. I spent time in meetings, spent times at mid-sized, larger conventions, seeing how things work. And of course, I've been voting since I was 18. So because of that, I'm not happy with the way things worked out in this last election. And I'll just say it that way. But I have a plan, and I'm sharing this plan with you out there. It's a larger scale plan. I have a website called nowwhat.network. And with that, a book, the Now What Network Manifesto, that is a way to keep citizens engaged. Get your power on. You don't have to keep your powder dry so much, but make sure you have your targets aimed specifically in the realm of politics, in the thought process that you need to keep people accountable. If the person you voted for, local or state or national election, did not win, these are ways you can stay engaged and make sure that maybe next time your guy will win, and you can keep the guy that did win accountable, and vice versa. If your person won and they are going back against their campaign promises, these are some ways you can do to stay in the game, stay accountable, and make sure that in the pipeline, you are having a good farm team of actually good politicians, good workers in government who can move up and make their way in there and can fight the good fight and fight against some of the bad stuff here. We're not going to talk about anybody in particular, but you have an idea. I'm talking about the national level. But if you think that you are powerless, you're not. So here's how to get your power back. There are in this book tips to keep you so that your vote counts, even when you think it doesn't, you get a losing vote, and your voice counts, even when you think it doesn't and no one's listened to you. It says national politics, but this also trickles down to any level going forward. It's national politics, but it starts on a local level, growing those guys and sticking with those guys and see how far they go until they reach the higher level. And you can see what people go through to be on those levels. Check it out, the Now What Network Manifesto. There's a link is inside of this presentation. It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble. It's on anywhere you're looking for books. Kindle and paperback form on Amazon. There is no other digital other than the Kindle version. But $5 in Kindle and $10 in paperback wherever you can find it. And also in some bookstores out there, I got a call from this one specifically from a bookstore in Maine with a guy with a weird accent asking for a discount for books. So I sold them cheaper books. Hopefully you're going to get one of those if you're in Maine. If you're in Maine, show me a picture. I love you, maniacs. Quickly, the Conversation Project lives online at thisistheconversationproject.com. We are right now about a 55% chance of doing this thing tomorrow because, like I said, no one's getting up early. And in fact, the kid, now that we don't do Santa Claus anymore, will probably stay up past midnight because that's what she does. But the parents are going to bed early because that's what we do because we're old. So I'll have my full 6.5, 7 hours of sleep. So I'll be up and ready to do because I wake up at 3 just magically on my own. Maybe me and Nick will hang out and talk about the night that passed per se. Who knows? Might happen. But if you want to get more details about what we do, now is a great time to do that. While you are just looking for something to do while the kids are opening presents and doom scrolling, check out our website. This is theconversationproject.com. If you've not quite fallen in love with us yet, see if there's something there that can mostly get that engagement going. We have links to old shows, which so you can get those as well. We have links to how we got here and what we're doing. We have some links that talk about the things we want to do based on some of the past things. I really, really, really want to do surveys, but I just can't get my feet under it because the day job's kind of busy. So that's there. We need you to help us and support us by being a partner, stopping by our sponsors and buying from them. They're all affiliate links, and possibly joining our membership via YouTube. If you join, it's just like being a partner. There are various tiers, including insider stuff. We put in a clip of insider video from last week, and I think we have a couple in the queue that may or may not get taken care of based off the rest of the week. A lot of family stuff to do, so it is Christmas, so I have to take that time away, but it is what it is. We need your help. We need your support. We need you to like, share, and subscribe. We need you to grow what we have here. I thank you in advance. I'm not so much begging for cash, money, or whatnot, but I'm just letting you know we had a great year despite a lot of things that kind of got in the way and pushed back. We had a pretty good year for the Conversation Project, and we're expecting more and greater, and we're expecting you to come along with us. So come along for the ride. We need you here. We need you here. Make sure you're a part of what we have going on in the future. Your future is hopefully a good Christmas. When I was still doing the little conversations, we just did something a few weeks ago saying, make sure that, man, you take care of your ladies and get them a good gift for their stocking stuffer. So you've got a day. Stores will be shutting down around 6 or so, and there'll be crazy panic drivers and traffic will be crazy, insane. But you got today to take care of it. Make sure you remember, this is Jesus' birthday. Yes, Santa Claus goes to work, but this is also Jesus' birthday. So if you celebrate it that way, take some time to celebrate that way. We'll most likely 55%, 57% chance of doing this tomorrow in some fashion. I might even wear a Santa hat. That was more like a 10% chance, but we'll go with that anyway. Thank you so much. Love you so much. Mean it so much. Stick around for more great stuff and keep in news clips because apparently the news isn't stopping. Matt Gaetz is dropping stuff, and, we're going to find out U.S. Steel and all that stuff. We got news on what should be a really, really slow week. So I got stuff to do. You got news to gather and to keep up. And we need to get your engagement levels on our feed so we know what to talk about tomorrow.